So welcome to our regular council meeting, Smith Falls Council meeting, November 4th. I'm Councillor Jay Brennan. Regrets from Mayor Panko and Councillor Miller. I am the acting mayor for November, so I'll be chairing the meeting. And I'll begin with the land acknowledgement. On November 4th, 2024, we acknowledge that this sacred land on which Smith Falls is now located has been the site of human activity for over 10,000 years and is rich in Indigenous history. This land is the ancestral and unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. We're grateful to the Algonquin ancestors who cared for the land and water in order that we might meet here today. We are also grateful to the Algonquin people for their contribution in making of the Rideau Canal, which runs through Smith Falls. We are mindful of broken covenants and the need to reconcile with all our relations together. May we care for this land and each other, drawing on our strength of our mutual history of nation building through peace, friendship, and being mindful of generations to come. So I'll call the meeting to order, and we'll begin with our regular approval agenda with Councillor McKenna.
Thank you, Mayor, Acting Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Robinson that the November 4th, 2024 regular council meeting agenda be approved as circulated.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor McKenna, seconded by Councillor Robinson, that the November 4th, 2024 regular council meeting agenda be approved as circulated. All in favor? Carried. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest and or conflict of interest and general nature thereof? Seeing none. We have an approval of minutes motion with Councillor Quinn.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Robinson, that the minutes of October the 7th, 2024 and October the 28th, 2024 council meetings be approved as circulated.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Quinn, seconded by Councillor Robinson, the minutes of the October 7th, 2024 and the October 28th, 2024 council meetings be approved as circulated. All in favor? Carried. Any council reports tonight? Councillor Robinson?
Thanks. On October 28th, I attended a Railway Museum meeting, which was held in the dining car. The museum's been working on regaining their charitable status and have done everything that is needed, and now are waiting for final approval. Currently, they're working on updating and implementing their strategic plan. And last but not least, the STEAM project is well underway. The demo work inside the car has been done, has a new floor, and they're in the process of building an accessible ramp to allow access to the rail car. That's my report.
Thank you. Any other reports? Councillor McGuire?
Thank you. I just wanted to give an update from the last Police Services Board meeting. The board voted to approve the new contract with the police. It had several changes and updates to it. One being that the salaries are going to go up 1%, and this is on top of the 14.75% that they'll go up because the salaries are matched to the OPP. So that was passed 4-1 with one person absent from the vote, and I was the one that voted against it just because I didn't think it's the time to be increasing that by the 1%. The other thing is that the board voted to hire 4 new officers at the last meeting, and we're awaiting the preliminary budget, but I'm sure that all of this is going to play a factor in that. So if there's any questions on the Police Services Board meetings, I can take them now.
Any questions for Councillor McGuire?
Next meeting will be November 12th at 8 a.m. in the council chambers.
Okay, and those meetings are streamed, am I right?
Yeah, they're on YouTube.
So anybody
leave
can
this
watch.
in the town's page.
Yep, great. Thank you for that. Councillor Quinn?
Just quickly, report from the Real Deal store, and they have started an online auction. They're also posting on Facebook. They're looking to make people aware of what they have there and where they are. They want to become much more visible than what they have. So they're really working very hard at that, and I have to give them credit. That's my report.
Thank you. Everybody watch out for that. Any other reports? No. I do have a mayor's announcement. So just to inform everyone that we still have some vacancies on some municipal committees. The Municipal Heritage Committee has vacancies for 3 citizen members and 2 youth. The Climate Protection Working Group has vacancies for 2 youth. The Public Arts Advisory Committee has 2 citizen members, including 1 youth. And the Heritage House Advisory Board has vacancies for 5 citizen members. And I'll just ask Clerk Costello for the youth, and we have some in the audience here. What is the criteria for the youth?
Simply that they are ages 16 to 18. They're residents of Smiths Falls. For advisory committees, we also accept residents from the periphery. But other than that, it's Canadian resident, the same as the other applicants.
So we encourage, we were at the high school a couple of weeks ago and we had some interest there. So hopefully encourage the students to get involved. So I do have 2 proclamations to read tonight. And I'll go ahead and do that. The first one is Domestic Violence Awareness Month for November 2024. Whereas the town of Smith Falls supports the rights of every citizen to live free from domestic violence, and whereas domestic violence affects all people, regardless of geography, race, age, ethnicity, gender, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, or economic background. And whereas domestic violence is a public health issue that causes significant trauma, impacts the physical and mental, emotional outcomes of people, communities, and societies. And whereas we have an obligation to do everything we can to raise awareness of domestic violence, support victims and survivors, and hold offenders accountable. And whereas the spirit of the Domestic Violence Awareness Month, let's continue building the conversation about domestic violence and protect the people of Smith Falls from this horrible crime. And now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Jay Brennan, acting mayor of the town of Smith Falls, do hereby proclaim November 2024 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the town of Smith Falls, and encourage our residents to stand firmly with survivors, advocates, and community agencies to stop domestic violence in all its forms. So I signed that today on November 4th. The second proclamation I have is called the 2-Minute Wave of Silence Proclamation. Whereas November 11th, 2024 is the dawn of a century we hope will be blessed with peace. And whereas all Canadians owe a debt to the 116,000 brave young men and women who gave their lives to defend our freedom and way of life. And whereas to help secure peace for future generations, we must always remember the sacrifices, especially the young people who are always the first called at times of strife. And whereas the Royal Canadian Legion is asking Canadians to observe a 2-minute silence on 11 a.m. on November 11th, and that this silence will begin in Newfoundland and sweep across the country like a wave as the clock strikes 11 each time zone. Therefore, be it resolved, the Council of the Town of Smith Falls hereby proclaims our support for the 2-minute wave of silence. And further, we pledge our participation at 11 a.m. local time on November 11th, 2024, and encourage citizens of Smith Falls to participate in the 2-minute wave of silence. And I signed that today on November 4th. And of course, we have our regular service on November 11th at the Cenotaph, and always well attended. So I encourage everybody to go down, and hopefully the weather will be good, and I think it will be. And it's always a moving event. So those are my proclamations. We have the consent agenda, which is with Councillor Robinson.
Thank you. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Quinn, that items in consent report number 12-2024 received from the clerk be received and adopted.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Robinson, seconded by Councillor Quinn. The items of the consent report 12-2024 received from the clerk be received and adopted. Clerk Casella, can you run through those for us?
Absolutely, thank you. The first is a bylaw for the revised dock lease agreement with LeBoat, and the second being the building bylaw. We have 4 resolutions this evening, the first being cancellation of the liquor license for the Memorial Community Center, the award to PPE Solutions for the personal protective clothing for the Smith Falls Fire Department. We have pre-budget approval for community beautification, and the final is various committee appointments to Smith Falls for All, Public Arts Advisory Committee, Climate Action Working Group, and Old Home Week Task Force.
Thank you. Anybody want to pull anything out of that? So I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Carried. We don't have any motions. We do have a bylaw tonight that's with Councillor McKenna, 10.1.
Yeah, thank you. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Robinson. That a bylaw to adopt an implementation strategy for the 2022 Parks and Rec Master Plan be received for the first time and taken as read a second time.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor McKenna, seconded by Councillor Robinson, that a bylaw to adopt an implementation strategy for the 2022 Parks and Recreation Master Plan be received and read a first time and taken as read a second time. And discussion?
Yes, as it says, in 2022, Council of the Day adopted a long-range master plan for our parks and recreation facilities, outlining some of the priorities and some high-level goals. And so staff took that plan. Council made it a strategic priority in this council made it in our strategic plan. We said that we would like, it's great to have a master plan, but how are we going to implement it? Staff took that away and have come back with a multi-year plan highlighting all of the activities that would take place over the next few years on actually making that master plan come to life. Annually, council will see a budget attached to this plan and have the opportunity to consider our ability to pay for some of the priorities. But you can see a roadmap on the parks and the recreation facilities that the town hopes to invest in over the next few years.
Thank you for that. I think Councillor McGuire.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to ask for a recorded vote on this one. And just to clarify, previous council didn't adopt the Parks and Rec Master Plan. It just received it for information. And the result, that was because of the significant deficiencies in the Parks and Rec Master Plan and the lack of specificity. Tonight, I'm going to vote against this operational plan. I agree with 80% of the funding commitments in it, but I don't believe the 20% of funding commitments in it were adequately debated at committee of the whole. And for me, this plan is, it's very short term. The bulk of the funding commitments come in this term of council. And if we're not prepared to, I see this as very similar to a pre-budget approval. So if we're not prepared to do that right now, I don't think it's the time to support it. So that's why I'll be voting against it.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? No, I'll go ahead with the motion. Moved by Councillor McKenna, second by Councillor Robinson, that a bylaw to adopt an implementation strategy for the 2022 Parks and Recreation Master Plan be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10594/2024, and recorded votes be called.
Thank you. Regarding bylaw 10594-2024, council members could reply with either yay or nay. Councillor Quinn?
Yay.
Councillor McKenna?
Yay.
Councillor Robinson?
Yay.
Councillor McGuire?
Nay.
Councillor Miller is absent. Mayor Panko is absent. Acting Mayor Brennan?
Yay.
Carried.
Okay. Any inquiries or announcements from my colleagues? Councillor Quinn.
Thank you. It has been brought to my attention that Cotrocci and Company Limited have been in business in the town of Smith Falls for 102 years. And as of October the 18th, they have sold the business to a company called HK Food Services Incorporated, and they are located in Sudbury, Ontario. So there's a new company coming in, going to run it similar to what it has been run. They're still offering the same services. But I have been thinking that it would be really nice if, as the town, if we could just send them a thank you card for being in business for 102 years is quite an accomplishment. So we still have members of the Cotrocci family working there. So there's Fran Cotrocci, Joe Jr., Vince, Jim, and Joe. And Fran is staying on for a few months just to help the transition. And one of the men are staying on a very part-time basis. But it is a new company that is in there. And that's quite an accomplishment, 102 years being in business in Smith Falls. So we wish them all the best.
Indeed, over a century. So I'm sure the chamber would be interested in that. And I don't think there's too many people in town that haven't been touched by Cotrocci's one way or another. So Congratulations to them.
Thank you.
Any other? I guess I've got everybody. Confirmatory bylaw is with Councillor Quinn.
Thank you, Your Worship. Second, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Robinson, that the bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meetings on the 7th and 28th days of October 2024 be received and read a first time and taken as read a second time.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Quinn, seconded by Councillor Robinson, that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting on the 7th and 28th days of October 2024 be received and read a first time and taken as read a second time. All in favor? Any discussion?
This is something that happens on a regular basis with us keeping track of all our meetings and the information that passed through them.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Quinn, seconded by Councillor Robinson, that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council at its meeting on the 7th and 28th days of October 2024 be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10595-2024. All in favor? Carried. And adjournment.
Thank you. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Robinson that this council adjourn its proceedings at 5:16 p.m. and stand so adjourned until the next duly called meeting of council.
Moved by Councillor McGuire. Before I read this, I'll just mention that there's a consultation going on this evening at the arena upstairs for the future of Lower Reefs Park. So anybody watching, I believe it doesn't start till 6. You got time to go down there. So I just want to put a plug in for that. Moved by Councillor McGuire, second by Councillor Quinn, that this council adjourn its proceedings at 5:16 and stand so adjourned until the next duly called meeting of council. All in favor? Carried. And we're adjourned.
Exactly.